Where was that? That's an issue. You know.
That's just
And,
peace. Just peace.
I don't.
Get some sailing in.
I'm like, done any trips or anything, but we've got 4 hours.
She said actually. We got
Stay a little, yeah, the weather was good. You?
So what?
Man, don't press the hell out of
Oh, yeah.
That's like. So let's add it for mine. Really good.
Amen.
Especially in college.
I used to.
Especially rolling. I can't see what's rolling. It's rolling.
Coming up behind you.
I banged it. I think every no way.
Line.
Now I finally started.
I didn't.
Pretty started
Whacking.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure.
Don't get
Like,
rid of
Catholics
it.
together.
Easy. And then I got back. Another. I'm an
You know, the problem I have here. I mean, it's getting pretty, you know.
I buy it.
So no problem.
You know, how.
We always get rid of it.
Okay, it is 4 o'clock. Let's call today's order of the Harbor Commission. The Harbor Commission meeting to order. We do roll call, please.
Bill Brown,
Here.
Tom Grant,
Here.
Chip Evers,
Here.
Matt Guerra,
Here.
Bill McCullough,
Here.
Jim Bartlett,
Here.
Laura Forrest,
Here.
John Baker,
Here.
and Karen Stroh.
Here.
We also have Greg Fisher, who's attending via Zoom. He cannot vote, but he can participate.
Is he at a golf course somewhere? What's he doing? We don't care. Don't answer. First item on the agenda is approval of our minutes from our July 12th meeting. You all had them in your packet. Any changes or comments? Hearing none, I entertain a motion to approve as submitted.
I'm so moved.
Second, motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Same for opposed. Thank you. Approval of the agenda. Anybody? Any comments about the agenda today? This is typically our shortest meeting. My intention is to continue with that tradition.
So no comments, right?
No comments.
No comments from this?
Approved by consensus. Public comment about anything that's not on the agenda today. Yeah, we'll keep moving at it. Old business. Harbor Master Building Renovations Plan Review. And everybody have a copy of them? What do you, which is great.
No, it's still mine.
We got more down here.
Yeah.
You don't have a copy, you have plenty.
Yeah.
What do you want?
Yeah, just pass it down. Let's see, Victor, you want to walk us through this or want me to do it or what do you want to do? Are we good? Chip, you got it?
One, please, yeah.
I think it's pretty self-explanatory here in the sense that the process, how we got here, we've been talking about the Harbor Master Building for years, and then the Harbor Commission decided to go for just a remodel of what we had and add the existing, add new bathrooms to the west end and change existing bathrooms to laundromat and mechanical rooms. So we did bids for an architect to do the project. We selected a bid at council, contractor to market the day, and he has provided the plans. You guys probably got the revised copies in your email yesterday. And Mark will go through and explain what he did and what changes are happening and why, and then pass it on to you guys for feedback. For then the Harbor Commission to give a recommendation to council or any other advice to council on this project.
Sounds good. What is yours? Mike?
Okay, I started off working with staff here at City Hall. They ran me through the functional requirements and provided me a preliminary plan and some elevations and stuff like that. And that's what I worked with. And hold this thing here. How do I get to where I'm going? How do I get to the thing behind us? There we go. Okay. All right. So, so I worked with the staff here at City Hall to go through the the functional requirements, and we looked at everything that was provided. I made what they gave me work as far as being all the code requirements, ADA, all that kind of stuff. And then we started looking at the building pretty hard as far as, okay, what's really there? And the building has served its purpose very well over the years, but it's pretty worn out. There's no insulation, it's a cinder block. And so all the addition I have to do to meet current building codes. The existing one, you could just sort of put Band-Aids on and stuff like that. But once we looked at having to move air around in there to provide the required ventilation and all that kind of stuff that hasn't been done, that's when I started looking at, well, we probably need to do more than what was originally set up. Meaning, it would be very hard to move any type of electrical or HVAC or anything like that through the existing roof truss system. There's very little insulation up there. And so I looked at taking that roof off, putting on a new roof, and providing 12 inches of free area up there to run ductwork, any future expansions that's required, and then, code required insulation on top of that. Same thing looking at the siding. We're not going to match however old that siding is with the addition. So once you take off the old siding, it's like now's an opportunity. We could put on a couple inches of rigid insulation outside that block, put new siding on it, and get it fixed up and start making it look like it belongs down there. And so that is what you've got in front of you. The idea was to make the building good for another 40, 50 years. You have to think about it again. Working with the infrastructure guys here at City Hall, they say, yeah, that's a good thing to do. And that's why you have that in front of you right now. As far as what the building looks like, you have elevations. And it's better if you look at that screen there, I think. Up here is very good. But you can see here, still not great. Okay, so this would be where the dumpster would be here. This is a required egress that we need there, but it also takes you into the laundry facilities. This would be a ramp, ADA curb ramp here to take you up into the cycling area. You do lose 2 parking spots right here. After working with JB on this the other day and working out some of the other issues, we came up with this, and we went from to allow at least 1 more parking spot, but recently we were missing 3, so now you're just missing 2. The front of the building is the same. Here we do have, some privacy screens. And you can sort of see that the look of having I always put skylights in to bring more natural light into the building. So that in the existing men's and women's bathrooms and shower areas, I now bring a natural light in. The light would be a translucent skylight, so you wouldn't heat up. It'd be a nice filtered natural light that'll come down and some daylighting. I also had the skylights over the 2 new bathrooms, which you see right here. And so that's it. Anything else I'm forgetting. At the moment.
Site plan, parking,
Just the parking, the loss of parking.
and just explain why.
Oh, well, there would not be on the site plan. You look at. There would not be enough room here to have cars maneuver in and out of here. So it'd be very dangerous to have cars coming through here. Or, trying to get into these spots. This is where we decided to put the bicycles. And the other thing we worked with that we went from 4 fixtures to 3 fixtures in each bathroom is that this was able to remain open. So access for repairs and stuff will be able to still come right through here. So that was not impaired at all. But these are the 2 spots that were lost, or right where the bicycle racks will be.
Is one of those the designated electric charging spot?
Yes, one is not, that have to be moved.
Where do you propose moving it to?
That would be a discussion for staff and council another time. We have a contract with the company for, I think, 5 years, and I think we're finishing up our 3rd year, so there's essentially 2 years left on that contract. So we could find another parking lot. It's all about closest electric source in the city.
Can you explain a little bit more where the dumpster would go and recycling and so on, because that already takes up quite a bit of space
Okay,
on
well, the
the
dumpster
west side?
is over here. Recycling wasn't in the program I was given. So I do not have a place for it right now in the exterior. On the interior, there's spots that we could put it. But that's right here.
Okay.
So this is the existing curve that comes around the building now.
Mhm.
And so the pavement would just be extended up into here. There'd be a step down from this walkway here. We just have to have the ramp on this side. And so that's where that would be. It'd be behind an enclosure.
Okay.
On the inside of the building, we have quite a bit of room for recycling. If you go to the plan. Let's see. The recycling would be. This back to that would be, this is where I haven't worked on the system, which I apologize. It'd be a little weird.
Aaron, the theory here is that we would have a smaller dumpster, but more frequent pickups.
Okay.
And I think that's better, less overall wax, so.
So we would have some room in here, if Michael wanted to have, we could create some recycling here, because this is the security door going, so that after hours, people could come in here to access the laundry room. And this would be, of course, a locked door here into the camper room. Sorry, the scales were on this, so let me see if I can fix that here too.
And I've talked to Andy Tolsdorf about increasing the recycling pickup. Right now, we're once a week, but we're looking at going to at least twice a week. And hopefully reducing the number of containers we have to have down there. Because right now we've got 5, I think, in peak season. So if we can reduce those, we can decrease that footprint quite a bit.
Right.
And I think there's other spots we could put those cans if we wanted to keep them out of the building.
Yeah, I'll take a look at that, and we'll find a good spot for when we start working with the site and all that, but thank you for the comment.
But Ted, I'm sorry, Bill. Go ahead.
I just had a question, but I made the assumption that the bike parking would be a combination of conventional and EV because you have EV accessibility. Is that the case or not? Are we thinking that far ahead?
That has not been brought up to me yet. But we could certainly make it, by EV, do you mean,
Electric bike charging, yeah, I mean, I know there's a lot of different
That
charging.
would be something to work with, the city.
I'm just thinking it's a revenue stream. There's a lot of people coming to town on EV bikes
There's
now.
a lot of EV bikes. Yeah, I used to see them like whipping up the hill by my old office, but those guys who go up the hill fast, I can't ride that fast. You kind of hung up to ride bikes. Yeah, I can't. Yeah.
2 reactions. One, I would like, I know that we don't want it cluttered with recycle, but as long as we haven't done anything yet, it's so essential to our community that not just boaters go into the mechanical room to recycle, that I would hope you could find some location to continue encouraging. I don't want it ugly, but I don't want to lose
I
that.
don't do it.
I noticed that, yeah, but I just like to make sure that we still
Yeah.
give that opportunity for that.
I'll add that to the program. I'll talk with staff about that, but I'll find a good place for it and we can have it. We have room, even just along here. you know, this is essentially just dead space right out here. So we have this whole area here that we could extend this across here and create a nice architectural solution to it.
And then the second one, and it's not my place because it does go somewhere else, but as long as I'm here. This is an opportunity to eliminate those two electric charging stations right by there. I mean, that, I'm thrilled with that. And I have a recommendation that if it was further down, and it's not yours, it's kind of, this is for Victor. By the curb, when you pull out of our parking lot, if there's big cars at the first two spots, it's frightening who you might hit. And if they were the electric charging stations, because they're not used regularly, you would have a better sight. I think you know what I mean, right as soon as you exit. So just
Yeah.
kind of tuck it in when you're thinking about it. It's not,
You know, probably the toughest one to get in and out would be this one here.
oh no, I don't mean that. I'm talking about if you just,
Oh,
now
that's
you're
right.
pulling out
On the street.
onto the street.
Yeah, pull
If
it
you were
faces.
coming out to the street and turning right, there are
And
electric
they're
boxes
parallel
there.
parked on Bay Street.
Yeah.
And
Can't
yeah,
see cross
you
traffic.
can't, so
Yeah.
that's
It is
my 2
electric,
cents.
yeah.
But
There's a transformer up in that corner.
Yes.
Just above where the two are right now.
Yeah.
And then you can just tuck two of them right in there along that. Yeah, there's
Right,
power
like
supply
that.
right there, yeah.
anyway, that's not yours, but thank you.
Noted.
Yes, Dan.
I'm just thinking ahead from a park standpoint, the long-term plan for Marina Park was to have a sidewalk along the parking. And also to provide better connections across the street, you know, from people coming from downtown. So I just wondered, you know, to come down to go to the restroom, maybe if we move the bikes like over towards the transformers. I know you have to get off your bike and walk it over there. Or at least allow for a sidewalk there so people coming from town can get across.
Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day, actually, that there are no sidewalks. People are forced to walk through the parking lot,
To get to
which is not good policy. That's not best practices. But this would be an opportunity. We can include that if, you know, staff wants. We can
I
include
think
that,
at
and
some
have that
point
done
there's-
as part of this project.
Yeah, there's
with
gonna
the
be a
civil
look at that
work.
whole parking lot, so, you know, for a lot of that won't happen until then. And I guess we could move bike racks at that time.
Yeah,
Dana, one of the original plans we worked on was a reorientation of the parking there that allowed for street access to Spring Street and a realignment of the sidewalks because it is a mess right now. We're not trying to tackle all of that. Where the bikes are, where the EV stuff goes, that's really easy to move down the road. I think our goal now is to keep those opportunities as that develops, but give us something we can live with in the near term.
And then thoughts about signage,
I'm sorry.
thoughts about signage.
For the, I would think for the restrooms, I haven't put it on here yet, but I would suggest that along here, we could have women's restroom, men's restroom. And so you come in from two different ways. You have privacy screens on both sides. And we have, you know, the common entrance here with the required drinking fountains right there. So I think somewhere on this area would be where the signage would go.
Seems like there's ample wall space to do that as well.
Yeah.
I just have a quick question. Is that a flat roof?
It's not flat, it's considered a low slope roof. It slopes a quarter inch per foot. It's all built up.
So
ridge
snow
insulation.
isn't an issue yet?
I'm sorry?
Snow?
No.
Oh, it's a issue.
No issue.
And question on the laundry, I know laundry facility is one of the reasons where we are right now, because we don't have any. And I couldn't tell, and I know this is just kind of first rough, but how many units, did you have a goal for how many units might go
Yeah,
into the laundry?
so 3 washers and 3 dryers. 2 units are stacked and 1 is down low for ADA.
Okay.
So you have 3 sets and 3 pairs of them. And I could give you 2 more if you wanted, there's not room.
I have no idea, I really need.
Well, the one thought I had was we talked a little bit about this, because then you can have one customer goes in and does a load of light and darts at the same time, you do 2 of those. We've got ample space for this, Rick says.
Yeah, you can have another stackable set in there if you want.
That'd be a good idea,
Okay. I can
because it's
add
the
that.
only laundry facility we have in the area.
One thing I don't see in there, Mark, is baby changing stations.
No, they are in there. They
Did I
are,
miss them?
yeah. I mean, they are.
We should add them to the voters one too, because I don't think we have any in there now.
No, I don't.
Yeah, these are the baby feeding stations right here.
Okay, great.
And there's one on each side. You want, because you could put them here too, obviously we can't be ADA in here, but we could, there's a wall here, you could put one on. Or we could put them in here in the showers on both sides. So let me know what your preference would be.
Yeah,
I'll get
whatever
them in.
staff decides they want to do, we should add them to the existing and include them in the new.
Yeah. Okay, so we can look at it and get it close to where, to give you some options about where they are.
I have one quick question. I know that with this plan, it's up away from our police parking only. If there is a spot, because we use that spot a lot, and if we are to respond to our patrol boat, which we do quite frequently on these call outs, if we don't have a marine patrol officer, it'd be nice somewhere just to throw it out there. I'm good with, having that when we talked about that, but having some designated parking spot down there, because we use that spot a lot, and when parking's full, we're gonna park in the middle and blocking somebody in. And so I'm just throwing it out there. It's a selfish thing, but it's also, we use it. If you see our cars are down there a lot.
Yeah, they are.
It's the only spot that we can park. I don't want to take up a spot necessarily, but the same aspect, if we have a call out and we need to jump on that boat, we're not gonna park or drive around the street looking for a spot to park. And so,
That'd be fun.
you know, if somebody's grounded, you work on it, find a spot to park. So, just, I don't know if that spot, not the bike rack, but that one spot there, that's sort of hard to get to.
There, here.
Why don't we,
That one right there.
why don't we chew on that and, but I understand the need and yes, we gotta find a spot for you.
Yeah,
There
I
might
don't
be some
care
other
if it's there or
things.
something on Bay Street or wherever, like that spot that you talked about, maybe having that be it or something, but it just. I know you guys all want is like the park down there, and we're in a hurry to respond to a call, whether it's on the water or at the Marina Park or somewhere around that area.
You need it, there's no doubt about it. So we'll find some place for you.
Just call me and I'll move my car.
Yeah, right.
I kinda like,
As you're on a boat.
putting that spot on maybe the right-hand side turn on Bay Street, on the parallel parking side, make that the police, because then you do protect that view.
Right.
It makes it so much easier to turn, you can see the traffic coming.
Yeah.
That actually is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we could have that discussion outside of the building.
Yeah, we'll get that.
Like with the electrical charging station.
I'm just looking at that one spot that Mark said might be a tough spot, somebody like that.
That's a hard one.
Other comments? Yeah.
Can you go on just a little bit about the roof design? It looks to me like this is designed so it drains to the center.
Yes, it's an internal drain.
Okay, and that's leaves and sticks and ice and snow.
Yeah,
Debris.
they have, large coverings over top of those. And they do have to get cleaned out.
Yeah, it's
right annually.
It's not a new,
No,
new
it's been
thing.
done for a long
Yeah.
time. But there's two, because I've had one come down, because we talked, first I had them shedding off. But then we talked with Michael about, erosion issues and stuff like that. And unless you have a gutter system capturing it and taking it somewhere, where's out your building, having the water running down and all that.
so this is gonna go into the
Going to storm,
storm drain.
you gotta. It's the best way to do it, right practices.
And will the overall roof line actually be lower?
So,
Yeah.
A little bit lower.
I think it's a great plan.
I do too.
At first, I was a little concerned about the way the roof looks, but after thinking about it, I'm not. And when you look back north over Bay Street at the bank or any of those buildings on that side, they have this pretty much the same soffit and fascia look as this does. So I think it fits in pretty well.
Yeah, and we'll build up a nice, when we get the construction documents, we'll do some work, have a really nice heavy trim up there, so it looks really anchored and it looks like it'll be there for, it's been there a long time, it's a more, contemporary design, even today's design will make it look like it's been there a long time. Especially with the board and batten too, I think that fits down there. The whole building, I think the aesthetic of it, I think will fit Harvey Springs quite well.
My one concern is cost, because this is a lot more work than what we originally had talked about, with just doing the addition off to the west. And looking at council people here, originally, we may have been able to do this just with waterfront funds. But with the new roof and the way this is all coming together in there, I think we would totally deplete our waterfront funds in there and get away from the cushion that we have for ice damage or some major thing that happens during the winter. We've always tried to keep about 400 grand in there for that. So just, you guys are gonna have to think about how we want to handle that with it. I'm in favor of the project going forward, unless it would take every dime we have in the bank to make it happen, then I don't think we're being as far thinking as we are. So this plan's gonna take a little cash coming out of some other fund like this. And also I heard from individual who has a contact with our state congressman or federal congressman who is looking for a project to bundle with a couple other ones. And now that we're to this point, this may qualify for that. So we haven't used up all the opportunities we have to get some other funding for this. And I'll get Victor hooked up with this and we'll see what we can do with it. But they need a cost on it first, and I told them we were working on it. We'll see what happens.
Do you have a swag number?
That's so hard to say nowadays.
No.
That somewhere, it's I don't know, 5 to 7, 7-ish, maybe more. It really depends on so many things. The process is, we get some kind of estimate, so get closer to it. But the process is, when it goes out for bids with general contractors, that's when we'll find out what it really costs. Until you do that, you just don't know nowadays. Contractors are so loath to give numbers because prices changes on them every month. And so they have to protect themselves. So that's something that we'll have to talk with about how to deliver the project, whether it's a negotiated contract or whether it's going to be a fixed price contract. There's pros and cons both ways. But it's just really difficult right now, even with estimators, professional estimators, they're loath to give out numbers, and they have a very short shelf life. But it's just very difficult. But JP's correct, it's more than what just a simple addition would cost. We just throw up some horizontal siding and just
Potentially double or more what we were thinking.
Exactly.
Initially.
It's very possible. I just don't know. Again, your initial numbers, I don't know what that's based on, whether that was realistic or not at the time. So.
Yeah, we're all fishing until we get this out, and that's why we're doing the work now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any other questions for Mark?
Greg or Lucas, you're online. You can always raise your hand if you have any comments.
Good.
Okay,
This is not right. Okay.
yeah, fine.
Then I think what we need to give the council is a recommendation to move forward with this or edit it, go from there. So I entertain somebody, let me know what you want to do.
We'll make a motion. For council.
I think Baker got it in first. Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Same for opposed. Great.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Mark. So this will go to council on August 21st, and then we will also have to take it to the planning commission. Just to make sure it aligns with the zoning code, which.
Well, I just got a text from Greg that is 24 minutes old.
Yeah, I responded.
It's okay. All right, good. Wasn't watching my phone. See, I was paying attention. I don't care what you mean. Thanks, Mark, and staff for reviewing this and getting this to us. Good work. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Yeah,
So I do have a question. Just procedurally, this goes to council and we approve it, we recommend this, but we're not recommending going forward yet until we get the
No,
bids.
what will happen, and Victor correct me, he'll finish the job in terms of developing construction documents for this so that we can put it out for bid.
Okay,
And then we'll,
if we get a number too big, then we may.
then we're gonna have
So-
to figure out how we want to handle it.
So usually that process is we get bids back and we select bids, and in this case, we would come to the Harbor Commission for advice when we get those bids in to make a recommendation to council on. We can fix it. So, yeah, so But we need to get this through the planning commission so we can put it out to bid.
And that was 21st to go to council?
Yes, and then it'll probably go to planning commission in September.
Great, thanks. Next item on the agenda is update from the Ford Park Committee.
We have had no meetings. I've gotten no correspondence. I've had a couple of conversations. And planning, although I have not done it, to meet with Lucas and other city staff to try to coordinate a timeline and go through various line items that are in the city's, the word's getting away from me, the spending plan, capital improvements plan, for the next like 5 years or so. There is a ginormous digging up Bay Street project scheduled for 28, which is 5 years down the line, which is quite a way down the line. But if we were to look at doing more than just a little bit of asphalt and some paint and signage and stuff, we might want to coordinate with that project because all the machinery and all the guys are going to be there doing the exact kind of work we're talking about anyway. So I haven't made any progress on that yet, but that's where I'm going. I want to meet with those staff members and see how this all might go together. We're still working on a scope too.
And going off of what Bill said, that Bay Street project also needs to coordinate with the potential bike extension, the bike path, once we get the bike path.
Yeah,
put into-
so between the bike path and rebuilding all the underground structure along Bay Street, there's a significant amount of work that's gonna be done right there in the next 5 years, so. Still just kind of nosing around. Haven't come up with a specific recommendation on traffic flow or any of that sort of thing.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you.
Victor, with that base income, and is the city considering looking at changing the entrance into the marina parking lot and lining it up with Spring Street?
I don't know if this project goes all the way to.
Okay, so we won't look at that.
It's not the entire Bay Street.
The one I'm talking about goes from Judd to Zoll, so
Yeah.
it would not go that far down.
Thanks, Bill. New business, Michael. Oops, thought you drinking.
Excuse me. I was kind of hoping that Bob would be here today. Bob had some things he'd like to speak with the commission about his recommendations and what he's seen happening at Ford Park. But hopefully Bob will be able to make that October meeting. But thanks to Bob for all the things he's been doing down at Ford Park. I know that Kyle's appreciated Bob's efforts along with Mary Jane. Bob's been really good about being there from 10 to 6, the busy times on Saturdays and Sundays. And I've heard nothing but good comments about what he's been doing down there too. So we all love Bob.
Received several emails saying that they're happy they have someone at Ford Park.
And I need to thank my staff as well. The girls have all been great about getting out there and cleaning spider poles and bathrooms and trash and the whole 9 yards. So they've been great. And they made for a really good regatta. Since we last met, the month of July was strong, although JB and I've been talking about how many empty slips we've had that we've never seen before over the past few years. But I'm happy to report that as of 31st and 22, we're a little over $65,000 in revenue for the month. Through 31st of this season, we're a little short of $72,000. So for whatever reason, we're improving our numbers. For the entire season so far through the 31st and 22, we're just over 120,000. Through 7/31/23, we're just over 135. So things are looking up. You Got a Regatta saw us birthing 38 boats. I think Regatta was a huge success, although they did kind of shut down on Saturday. The breeze was all over the map, I guess. So everybody said they never seen anything like it. But Friday and Sunday were awesome. So I need to thank the Yacht Club for all their cooperation. Michael and his gang down at the boat shop did a tremendous job with their boats. And I think their whole weekend was a huge success. Didn't hear anything from Kyle about issues on the street. We had nothing on the docks to speak of. So it's been a good month, and I think it's been a really good season so far. So, and that's my short and sweet again. So thank you so much for all your help.
Thanks, Michael.
Yeah, you bet.
I agree.
Quick question to Michael about the digging docks. Or you have to have a mooring to be able to get a permit.
We sell non-seasonal permits when we have available space.
Do you?
And we were down there today condensing that pile of dinghies at Ford Park.
Yeah, it's got, I mean, I pulled mine out, but it got really
Yeah.
silly down there.
We got down there, condensed it, and I'm gonna make a concerted effort to get down there as much as we can to keep that cleaned up. Because we have so many more moorings at the east end of the field, Ford Park is a really popular spot to
Yeah.
keep your
It's
boat.
a small stock.
Gonna try to encourage folks to utilize the courtesy dock more, because we've got a ton of open space down there at the courtesy dock, so. We'll make an effort to make that, keep that cleaned up, for
Thanks.
sure.
Thanks.
Any other questions for Michael? Thank you.
Thank you.
Uh,
Laura got away for a week this year,
I did.
in her boat.
and she came back.
She came back.
Great.
Kyle, let's talk about Marine Patrol. How's our extended hours of?
I feel it's going well. Larry Mosher, you met him at the last Harbor Commission meeting. He's been a great addition, at least in my side of it. The nice thing about Larry is if it's raining out, he doesn't need the money. He'll say, I'm not coming in. So it's not like he's out there to try to make money. He's very good about working hours that we need him. And him and Dean work awesome together. Just a little bit of statistics, like on that day, on his spot, when he works, just so you know, he works Monday, Wednesday, 1 p.m., or excuse me, noon to 8. And then on the days that Dean works 6 to 9, Tuesdays and Thursdays, he works noon to 6. So basically, we have somebody on the water from noon to 7 or noon to 9 every day of the week. And the hours just that Larry's worked, since 7/1 to 8/8, he has made 118 public interactions. He gave 33 verbal warnings. He's been out there just assisting other boarders with questions and stuff like that. And so I feel that my side of it has been successful. Budgetarily wise, between him and Dean combined, they worked 289 hours year to date. And then we budgeted, or the Harbor Commission budgeted $30,000. And currently we've spent $7,216 of that $30,000. But just around a month and a half to go. So I feel that we'll be under budget with the $30,000. And I feel it's been a success. I don't know, I'm not out of the water that much, so I don't know what you guys are hearing as far as enforcement wise, or as far as, I know that he's had a couple rescue calls that we wouldn't have had somebody on the water during that time of day, so it was very nice. He was already out there. One was actually, a couple of them have been, he's had 4 of them, a couple of them were outside of our jurisdiction. One was a boat out of the lower shore that got up on a rock that was sinking. And because he was on the water, he picked Dean up off of a dock at Harbor Point. They were there within like 10 minutes. And if that wouldn't have been the case, you know, one of our guys would have to drive down the park, jump on the boat, try to get Dean. And so the fact that he was out there, I think definitely made a difference. So, and so I think that all in all is going well, but that's just my opinion on the layout side of it. So any questions?
I think it's going great. I'm on the water almost every day and I do see the boat out and I do see him interacting. And I think there's a little less weight violation stuff going out there. There's still some room for improvement, but it's much better than it has been. So and I think Larry's a great guy.
He's been like, I only had 2 people apply and he was one of them, but to me, he's an ideal person. He doesn't need it for the money. He's doing it for basically a side job, just something to do. And he's got a great demeanor. He likes to talk to people. So, and on our end of it, he's doing good. I don't, but you guys interact with him.
Anybody else got any comment or what they've seen over the summer?
Same as you. I haven't been out as much as you have.
Do you have numbers from prior years in terms of the number of contact, like?
I can get those. I don't have them with me.
Not real important. I'm just curious as to whether that's way up or.
Those,
From years
well,
back.
those numbers I gave you for Larry would be way up. They would be from 0 because we never had.
We were never there.
So that's just him.
That's just him.
Oh, all right.
So, yeah, so those 18 contacts that he's had a year ago, we didn't have any of those because there was nobody on the water during the time he was on the water.
I agree with Jim that I think that there's less like rude behavior
And a nice thing, well, I'll give you another example of he was out there the other day when the ferry came across and two sort of intoxicated, mouthy people were giving the people on the ferry a hard time. And we wouldn't have had a boat out there if it wasn't for him. So I got a call from the ferry saying, hey, we got somebody harassing people on the ferry. So I called Larry because it was on the water. It was like 2 PM. Larry scoots up to him and takes care of the problem right there. And he had the meter, I mean, basically he's not out to arrest people or he just wanted to take care of the problem. He took care of it. That if that hadn't been the case, we had to have one of our guys either meet him at the dock or something like that. So it was a benefit.
You know, as the season starts to wind down, are we looking at shrinking those hours a little bit? Okay.
And they normally after, yeah, because I won't see it till October. Dean usually runs till just after Labor Day.
Right.
And then what we do from Labor Day on is he only works weekends if it looks like it's gonna be nice. If it's not gonna be nice, he doesn't, we're gonna put our boat on. And the same thing will be with Larry, both bring those hours once, especially after the next couple of weekends with kids start going back to school.
It will get quiet up there. Great, I'm
Is that all right? Is everybody good with that?
I'm very happy.
Yeah.
I think everybody is.
And the money part is what I keep a rolling track every pay period for us to see where we're at and that's where we're at. So I'm pleased with that as well.
Yeah. I think you're doing a great job managing it. Yeah, okay.
I just want to say that there were some really positive comments about the presence on the Coastal Crawl Day.
Okay,
It's really good.
I'll pass it on to Dean. All right, thank you.
Super, thank you.
Thank you.
Pass them along to Larry too.
Will do. Yep, I'll talk to them both. Or, yeah, today's Wednesday. Larry's out there.
Great. That's the last of new business on that. Any comments from the table before we adjourn? Yeah. Great. Michael, this is the quietest you've ever been.
Dude, close retirement.
Next meeting,
Pardon me?
next meeting day. So-
It's scheduled for October 11th. We'll get our year-end stuff by then. So the next meeting is then, and we are adjourned. See you guys all in a couple of months. Thank you.
Thank you. Good looking.